Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. Today it is Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. That is literally 4.5 years today. I'm coming to you live every single weekday at 9 o'clock, in New York at least, as opposed to where my dear friend, my sister Daphne Lazar Price, is in Israel right now, anchoring us wherever she is. Please look at the sky for me. Take it all in. Thanks for being there. We share Torah every single day with our whole community and have been doing so for 1,140 weekday mornings in a row. Today is also day 348 since October 7th. We have found each other every day to learn Torah, to be part of a community of kind souls from all over the world, knowing that we will find each other, we will be together, and will lift each other and the entire world up. So let's say good morning as we have every single morning. We'll say a bracha, and we'll learn some Torah. Susie, it's good to see you. Adrian and Lisa, I'm looking on Instagram first so I don't leave anybody behind. Nancy, nice to see you. Shari, Boker Tov, Linda and Debbie, Rosa, sending love to Malta. Jerry, Fabrice, sending love to Paris. Barry, and Peter. Peter, sending love to Frankfurt. It's good to see you. Nathalia, Catherine, sending love to Australia. Linda, thank you. I'm feeling a little bit better. Jack, good to see you too. Dale and Amy, Penny, dear friend, thanks for keeping me on track always. Always. Fran, good to see you. Judy and Patricia, Cecile and Stacy, Linda and Siona, good morning, friends. Susan and Rose, Helen and Janice, Haley and Ashley, Barbara, Natalie, and Cassandra. Good to see all of you. My apologies in case I missed anyone. My screen is jumping all over the place, but it's good to see you. Debbie and Stan, welcome, welcome, friends. It's good to see everyone. All right, let's take a breath. Let's get ready to learn some Torah. Today is a day for lifting the world up with all the strength that we are blessed to have. So let's be strong. Here's a blessing. Oh, Rabbi Isaiah Rothstein, nice to see you, my brother. I miss you so much. You want to find another great wisdom teacher? Go look up Isaiah. He's a good one. Here we go. Amy, sending you comfort upon the loss of your friend. Ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. במיתותיו וציוונו לעסוק בדברי תורה, לעסוק בדברי תורה, הפוך בה והפוך בה, לעסוק בדברי תורה. La 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 la, la 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 la, la la. All right, everybody. It's good to see all of you. I hope that you and yours are safe and well. A few times during today's teaching, I'm going to make sure to mention a rally that's happening tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock New York time, right outside of the UN at Dag Hammarskjöld Plaza. It is a rally that is being, first of all, sponsored by countless good, sweet partners who want to bring us all together, to raise our voices again, to shout out that it is time to bring our family home. So there's a link that a colleague just posted in the Facebook post, but you can find this on UJA's Facebook page. 9 o'clock, Friday, September 20th. That's tomorrow morning. Be present. The title is Not One More, They Are Unforgettable. 101 hostages from 24 nationalities. Bring them home now. It is one thing for us to dedicate all of our prayers and our learning and our hearts. It is another thing to show up and make our demands clear in robust numbers. If you can be there tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, tomorrow is not Friday. Thank you, Joyce. Friday, 9 o'clock. Be there Friday, 9 o'clock. The link is there. I hope that you will make sure to make every effort to be there. And a whole bunch of people are asking, so I don't want to make this about me. I'm feeling a little bit better. Thank you, friends. Clearly, I'm not sure quite which day it is, but Friday morning, I hope I'll be well enough to be there, and if not, you carry all of me with you. Let's talk some Torah. Parshat Ki Tavo has two prayers in it. Now, we're familiar, I think, with the first one, the recitation of the phrase, Arami Oved Avi. My father was a wandering Aramaean, or an Aramaean sought to destroy my father. We recite it every Pesach at the Seder because it's the origin story of our people as we tell it when we arrive in the land. Ki Tavo literally means when you arrive. So when we arrive in the land, says Moshe, at the end of his life, the first thing we should express is gratitude. Now the formula is interesting because if you look closely at Arami Oved Avi, there are parts of the story that are told, there are parts of the story that are not told. It skips Sinai. Isn't that interesting? And it skips the splitting of the sea. It talks about the servitude, the harshness of being enslaved in Egypt, God saving us, and then it moves into the journey through the desert very briefly, and then we arrive in the Promised Land. Now, that is a very interesting retelling of the story, but perhaps even more interesting is that that's what we say when we bring the first fruits to the priest. Here we are. Finally, we have arrived, and we are commanded to bring the very first fruits we are privileged to grow on our own land and recite an incomplete history. And that incomplete history emphasizes the hard parts and the arrival, but not the middle peak moments that you might have anticipated being there, especially Sinai and the splitting of the sea. Why is that so? It is important, and we've said this over the week, for us to remember, and that formula, Arami Oved Avi, tells us. It is important for us to remember where we've come from, and that this privileged moment of bounty is not the way it always was. And before I move forward into the second blessing in Parshat Ki Tavo, I really do want to ground us in this moment, and I want us to make a decision together. I found myself over the last 11 months veering more into the, well, I'm telling us what we should do mode. And I hope that that lands well, because I know that we are a diverse community, and we have different ways of doing things, we have different convictions and feelings, but the last thing I want to do is miss the call of this month, Elul, and the possibilities of this coming Rosh Hashanah, even in the midst of war, maybe especially in the midst of war. Think about what the Ki Tavo blessing, Arami Oved Avi, tells us about this moment. When I tell my history to my children, to my community, to my students, when you do, what are the parts that you're going to include? Has this year been roses? Definitely not. Has Jewish history been only roses? Definitely not. But the exclusion of Sinai, receiving the Torah, the exclusion of the splitting of the sea, when we recite Arami Oved Avi, means that some of the highlights are missing in the recounting of story. Now it happens to be that that story is being ritually recited in a moment of blessing, in a moment of bounty, of harvest. Maybe here's the question. Since this is not really a moment of bounty, this is a moment of struggle, of defiance, of yet again demanding of the world recognition that Jews deserve a dignified place on earth. That, by the way, I think is a working definition of Zionism. Jewish dignity on earth. Given that this is not a moment that feels like bounty, it's a moment that feels like struggle. How important then for us to consider how we tell our story, especially to ourselves. It's not a moment of bounty. It's a moment of existential angst. Our family is not yet whole. The war is not yet won. 80,000 plus of our sisters and brothers have no ability to go back to their homes in the north of Israel. And it doesn't look like that will change anytime soon. What's the story that we tell when we bring our offerings in this moment, which, at least by UJA standards, have been robust responses to this moment's demands? Would we include Sinai right now, a moment of divine encounter and purpose? Would we include the splitting of the sea, liberation, even at the cost of the lives of those who would hurt and kill us? Do we remember the lesson that yes, liberation, including the splitting of the sea and its ending the threat of Egypt's taskmasters, biblical terrorists, that has its place in our narrative, but the ancient wisdom in the Midrash that says God rejects singing triumphantly when others die. Meaning that we will fight as much as we must, but we will not sing about anyone's death. How powerful it is for us to consider how we tell this story, especially in moments where we will come together in great numbers for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. What will be the content of our prayers? What will be the kavanah, the intention of our prayers? What will we be singing about? These are real questions, friends, for all of us to consider. Now remember, I mentioned there are two blessings. There are two blessings in Ki Tavo. And for this insight, I want to shout out my thanks to my teacher, one of my dear Rebbes, Rabbi Bradley Shavit Artson. If you don't have his classic book, The Bedside Torah, I recommend it very highly. He keeps me company very often, and his simple way of expressing profound thoughts has always moved me. The second prayer is when you bring the Maaser. When you bring the Maaser, the gift from your own growth for the vulnerable of your own community. The farmer related what they had done. I haven't left anything. I haven't been greedy. I fulfilled this mitzvah. And then said, I have obeyed the Lord my God. I have done just as you commanded me. This Hebrew is so beautiful. Hashkifa mim'on kodshecha min hashamayim. Look down from your holy abode from heaven and bless your people Israel. I imagine that sometimes we will be shocked by the intensity of our own feelings when we recite some of these ancient words. But listen to what Rabbi Bradley Shavit Artson says. Both prayers follow on the heels of fairly mundane activities. In the initial instance, right, the first fruits, the Jew has offered his first harvest. In the second, the farmer has provided food for the poor. Neither actions necessarily point beyond themselves. They happen all the time, and anyone can perform them. It's sort of like if paying taxes as a United States citizen works toward providing for a public school education and the necessary meals that so many receive as part of that system. It's a mundane activity. There's no need to see in them anything more than the generosity of a particular farmer and the fertility of a particular piece of land, but that's not how we see it. In reciting a prayer that summarizes divine involvement, says Rabbi Artson, the farmer draws his own attention and that of the listeners beyond the limits of the event itself Suddenly, on the recital of a bracha, a blessing, or the performance of a mitzvah, the Jew sees physical reality as embodying the transcendent. He quotes his teacher, a wonderful scholar, Rabbi Max Kedushin, who coined the phrase normal mysticism, which means it is Judaism's commitment to experience the presence of God in the mundane activities of daily living. Let me give Rabbi Artson the last word here. And let me ask you to open your own hearts. I'm going to work to open mine. This is a moment where our hearts have been tested and are being tested, both because of the constant and consistent threats. And I know that not only Jews feel vulnerable, but Jews feel vulnerable. I'm thinking most especially of our sisters and brothers in Israel, our young sisters and brothers on campus, thinking of course about the 101 hostages still held by terrorists, those who have not been home in the north of the state of Israel for 11 months as their homes are attacked. I'm asking us to open our heart to something that transcends the physical reality, because in fact, that's part of what makes Judaism so magical. The capacity to see beyond, into a world that could be, to pray for peace when it seems completely unlikely, to demand dignity when it seems not so forthcoming. So I ask you to open your heart to a grand idea, a way of experiencing grandeur in this world, being a normal mystic, as Kedushin would say it, and as Rabbi Artson reminds us. Here's Rabbi Artson's words. Awareness of the sacred awakens a new sensitivity to nature. The heavens declare the glory of God, only to the person open to looking for God's glory in the first place. So whatever your theology, friends, whatever they are, let's take a breath. If you're near a window, look out that window. On this, our 1140th broadcast, on this, the 348th day since October 7th, take a breath. Notice the world around you. Try to be a normal mystic. Because if we're open to seeing grandeur and miracle, we will see it. We might be the very miracle we're waiting for. We might be the beauty that transcends the moment. But our openness is the only way we'll get there. And I believe we will get there. That's what the word believe probably means in the first place. The commitment to the world being better around us through our choices, through our actions. Let's try to be normal mystics. Nothing normal about it, but let's try. Friends, I'm going to ask your hearts, which I hope are open. And boy, am I talking to myself too when I say this. Let's send our hearts to the east. Kol hod baleva pnima nefesh Yehudi homia ulefatei mizrach kadima ayin letzion Sophia on lo avda tikvatenu hatikva bat shnot alpayim liot am chofshi be'artzenu eretz Tzion v'Yerushalayim liot am chofshi be'artzenu eretz Tzion v'Yerushalayim. Bring them home now. Am Yisrael Chai. See you tomorrow, friends. Take care.